Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Know who's ready for some fighting words. In this video, I'm going to do the final breakdown and prediction for Tim Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now. Subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit that button. It literally takes 1 second. Also, while you're doing that, hit that thumbs up button because it does show love and it supports the channel. So, this is the final breakdown and prediction. There will be a prediction at the end of this video. I'm going to skip through some of the categories that I typically do because this video, and I think this fight has a different type of theme to it. So I want to get to the things that I feel like are most important to this fight. So I'm going to start off with power. Who has more power? Is it Joey Spencer or is it Tim Tszyu? That's an interesting one. I'm going to go with Tim Tszyu. I think just one punch knockout power. I just think he has a lot of pop. He can stun you. You know, that's another thing you don't see a whole lot. People just getting stunned anymore. He will stun you. Let's see. Defense. Defense is very important in this fight. It is very important in this fight. For Tim Tszyu, it's important because I think everybody thinks Tim Tszyu now is a wounded animal, and you know, just go straight at him. Just go straight at him. You know, just rush him, and you can get him out of there. I think that's the overall thought process. I think he's going to have to show a lot of defense. I think he's going to have to show a lot of the category that I recently started implementing, which is control. I think he's going to have to pace himself, especially in those early rounds, because I do think the early rounds are going to be really testy for him. I think Joey Spencer is going to come out really strong. I think he's going to come out really fast, and I think he's going to be throwing some heavy leather coming out in the first rounds, because I do think the overall perception of Tim Tszyu, and I felt like he knows it as well, that you know, where he got cut, maybe that could open up again, you know, or look at what Baclaram did to him. How is he going to react when he gets hit really hard? You know, is he going to have some form of PTSD? You know, like, how is he going to react? We saw how he reacted, and I said this, and everybody made fun of me because of what I said. I said, you know, he had the cut, and then when Baclaram hit him, he pulls back, and he's just checking his head for the cut. He's just like, am I bleeding? No, that's sweat, Tim. That's sweat. Get back in the game. So I think the same thing could possibly happen again, you know, where you have a form of PTSD and maybe he gets hit really hard and either as I don't know, there could be a flashback or whatever the case may be, you know, but maybe for a moment he's like, oh, here we are again. Now, in the past, Tim Tszyu is very known for taking heavy punches and being resilient through, you know, the onslaught and moving forward and getting his guy out of there or just matching him, you know, power for power. But I don't know how he's going to react. I got to be honest. I don't know how he's going to react. I wasn't in his camp, so I don't know how he's going to react. I have a thought on how I believe he would react just based on his overall character and his past fights and just who he is as an individual. I believe he would rise to the occasion. I believe he would keep pressing forward. But what I would like to see, because I want to see some growth in him, is him reevaluate or reassess the situation. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back. There's nothing wrong with tying a guy up. There's nothing wrong with changing up your approach. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, like, there's literally nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a coward or anything like that. You're more of a man than 98% of the crowd because you walk out there while, you know, everybody's sitting in the crowd. So it doesn't make you a coward to say, you know what, I need to take a step back. I need to reassess the situation. I need to reassess what this man in front of me is doing. He hits a lot harder than I thought he does. He's a little bit more tricky than I thought he would be. He's actually faster than I thought he was. You know, you don't know. You know, it was Tony Harrison who said, after his fight with Tim Tszyu, he was like, he's a lot faster than he looks. He doesn't look fast at all. And, you know, with Joey Spencer, I already know he's a fast guy, and I already know he's a finesse type of fighter. So, you know, with Tim Tszyu, I think it would be smart for him. I'm not necessarily saying start off slow, but I am saying there's this thing called a jab. Use it. Start with that. Get into your groove with it, and then you can loosen up. That's what I'm saying. Don't be reckless. Don't rely on your durability and your strength and your power. Rely on your boxing skill. That's what got you to this dance. What got you kicked out the dance was you not relying on your boxing skill, but relying on your manliness. No, rely on your skill. You trained for a reason. I like to think you have a game plan. Flow into that. Simple as that. Footwork. I think footwork's going to be huge in this, and I think that's going to fall on Joey Spencer. I think he has better footwork than Tim Tszyu. I think for Tim Tszyu, the other thing is he's going to have to know how to cut off that ring. It's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be the aggressor. I'm just assuming it will be Tim Tszyu. I don't see any reason why not. I don't think he's overall changed his identity or his makeup, from one fight. So no, I believe he's still going to be the aggressor. I believe he's going to be the one pressing the fight and moving forward. Durability, we're here. Okay. Tim Tszyu is known for being durable. That's a fact. Him and his brother, they've been down, they get back up. They get wobbled, they fight through it. They straighten it out. I've said this before. Do not rely on your toughness. Don't rely on your toughness. You don't have to rely on your toughness opening rounds. Reserve your toughness for championship rounds. That's when you pull your toughness out, or you just get clipped with something. That's when you pull your toughness out. You don't pull your toughness out at the sound of the first bell. You may not even need your toughness. So don't pull it out so early. Don't use it so early. Don't rely on it so early. Rely on your skill early. Rely on the game plan early. If that needs to be adjusted, then adjust it. But you save that, you keep it in your back pocket. The last thing you want your opponent to do is realize what you have in you 4 minutes into this fight. Well, now the fight's a cakewalk for him. He knows what's happening. So don't do that. But do I think he's more durable than Joey Spencer? Yes. Yes, I do. I don't think Joey Spencer, walks into wars. I think Tim Tszyu will walk into a war. I think he will walk into a slugfest, no problem. And I don't think that is Joey Spencer's first thought. So I think he is more durable. Mental toughness. This fight is all about mental toughness. There should be a video posting where this whole fight's about mental toughness. Joey Spencer, everything opens up for him in terms of accessibility in the sport of boxing, notoriety in the sport of boxing. Checks open up to him. Marketing opens up to him. Everything opens up to him. He's going to become a household name if he knocks out Tim Tszyu. And then you have Tim Tszyu. He's back in the game because Joey Spencer is credible, because he may not be known globally, but if you're in the sport of boxing, then you know who he is, and you know he's a threat. You know he means business. So you're back in the game. Your credibility just shot up a few points, and you're back in the game. That's what that means. It means now I want to go after somebody with a bigger name, because I went after somebody who has no name and is dangerous. Now I want somebody who's dangerous with a name. So now I get something out of this next fight. This fight is about seeing if Tim Tszyu still has it. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. This fight is literally about, do I still have it? Do I have the killer's instinct? Do I have the eye of the tiger? Do I still have it? Can I still get my opponents out of there? That's what this fight is about for Tim Tszyu. Because Joey Spencer is dangerous, but his name doesn't hold any weight. So it's about, do I still possess what I once held on to and used to be the Soultaker? That's what that's about. Boxing IQ. I'm going to give it to Joey Spencer. I think he has more boxing IQ. I think when you fight in a finesse type of way, I think you have to be aware of certain things. I think you have to know how to set traps. I think you have to know how to get out of traps. I think you have to be an El Matador. I think you have to know how to play to somebody's strengths and also turn their strengths into weaknesses. And I don't see Tim Tszyu doing that. I just think he's a force. I think he's a force who hits hard. and he's a force who's going to be right there. And I can't help but shake the thought of what Baclaram said about Tim Tszyu. And he said, listen, that guy just wants to fight. He said, I'm going to box. So I think, just going back, tying in the mental toughness to the boxing IQ, one guy will be boxing, one guy will be fighting, because there's a lot on the line for Tim Tszyu. This is a fight for Tim Tszyu. It's not just a fight in the ring. It's a fight for his place in the sport of boxing. Joey Spencer, it's different. If I'm in the corner of Joey Spencer, I'm telling him to box, box, box. Showcase all your skill. I want you to get into a flow state. And if you can make a mockery of this guy, great, because everybody will be hearing about your name the next day. You have two options. You can box his head off, or you can knock his head off. Either way, tomorrow morning we'll be hearing about you. Last but not least, danger. Who's more dangerous? And when I think about danger this time around in this particular matchup, I don't think about danger in a physical setting. I think about danger in a mental setting. Who's more dangerous? I think Tim Tszyu is more dangerous because of what's on the line. I think Tim Tszyu is more dangerous because he loves the sport of boxing. I think Tim Tszyu is more dangerous because if he doesn't win this fight, he definitely never gets out of his father's shadow. I think Tim Tszyu is more dangerous because the door will be shut if he has 3 losses in a row. Now, who do I think will win? I know who I would like to win. I love my countrymen, of course, Joey Spencer. But I'm thinking about the future. I really want to see Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. I'm not going to lie. I really want to see that fight. Tim Tszyu gets through Joey Spencer. We're gonna get Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. Joey Spencer's a cool guy. I have nothing against him. But Keith Thurman, he really showed out the other week. He really showed out with his comeback performance against Brock Jarvis. And I don't think some of the things that he got away with, not necessarily what he did, but the things that he got away with, he would get away with Tim Tszyu. And because of that reason, I honestly feel like, well, not only that, let me say maybe 2 more points. I think Tim Tszyu's fighting at home. I think Tim Tszyu's going to have home court advantage. I think Tim Tszyu, as I mentioned before, is a married man now. And there's something different about what your wife says. You can beat that guy. And when she looks her husband in the eyes and he believes what she's saying, she says, go out there and go get him. I don't know. I just feel like it's a difference. It's a difference. And then when you actually step out of the corridor and the crowd is there and everyone is chanting your name because you're the hometown boy, it's different. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Tim Tszyu. He definitely has a lot of advantages. And he doesn't strike me as the type of guy who's shying away from the big moments. He doesn't strike me as that guy. It's like he wants the big moments. But on top of him wanting the big moments, he actually loves the sport of boxing. And that's not to take anything away from Joey Spencer. Clearly, to dedicate yourself and be in the gym day in and day out and, across the pond, nobody knows your name. You're dedicated. I'm not taking anything away from him. But he's not coming from what Tim Tszyu came from. Tim Tszyu came from 2 losses back to back. Tim Tszyu came from the ridicule of, you're only here because your dad, your last name. So now it goes back to that argument. So, yeah, as Connor Ben said, Nepo kids. So, yeah, I think Tim Tszyu can pull this out. If he controls himself and he understands that a jab comes first, I really think he can pull this out. I am going for Tim Tszyu. And I think Joey Spencer's the type of guy, you hit him, he's going to hit you back. So it's going to be a fun fight. Make no mistake about that. It's going to be a fun fight. But yes, I'm going with Tim Tszyu. And I got to be honest, it's because, I've been spoiled with boxing lately. And I want Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. Drop your thoughts down below.